Kaylene Cornell, and I would like to welcome you to our show today, Healthy Living. I am the Purchase District Health Department Health Education Coordinator, and today we are joined today by two guests. We are going to be talking about biking today. Many of us know the importance of physical activity, how it impacts chronic disease for one thing. By doing exercise, we lower the risk for cardiovascular, stroke, and diabetes. And that's why today we're talking about the important issue of physical activity and how biking can be enjoyable and still get in that physical activity. So for our guest today, it is Julie Thomas, and she is the Community Education Public Relations Director for Ballard County School. Thank you for coming. And then Martha Emmons, she is also here from BikeWorld, who she's been co-owner for 25 years. This store has been in Paducah for, like I said, 25 years and has really brought biking into our area. So Martha, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself?
We're bicycling enthusiasts and loved bicycling, and we're going out of town to always buy our equipment, and we thought there was a need here, so we decided to open a bike store, and it was a wonderful decision. It makes us feel that we make a difference every day in the lives of Paducah and the lives of the surrounding area, to have a product that not only makes us feel good, but it makes other people feel good. It brings families together, and as you said, it reduces the risk of so many lifestyle health choices that cause us to be ill and not able to function, and bicycling reduces that risk. And everything from people who used to be active and can't run anymore, they can still bicycle, and it's wonderful to be involved in a product and a lifestyle that ranges from small children in trailers to, we have several customers in their mid-80s, and so it's just wonderful to be involved in that. And then I've been very active in advocacy at the state level and on the State Bicycle and Bikeways Commission, and I chaired that for several years. This year I've stepped down from that and am really concentrating on working in the local area. This is our 4th year for Bikes on Broadway, which we may talk about that a little bit later, but that's an initiative that we're very proud to have in Paducah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Matter of fact, where have you seen biking in this region, say over the last 10 years? Where have you seen it progress?
Oh gosh, unilaterally across the boards. In fact, a few weeks ago, the bank officer that made our original loan to open our store said that she had never told us this before, but she said that when she made our original loan, that so many people at her bank said, "Oh my goodness, they will never make it. Have you lost your mind?" And now not only have we made it, but there's several other places that sell bicycles also. And we have some wonderful events, such as the Misaligned Minds, which will come up this fall, and Bicycling Magazine has named as one of the top 50 one-day rides in the country.
Wow.
And then other local events, such as the Ride for the Refuge, which we're going to be talking about today, to see Ballard County, which is by all accounts, I mean, it is a very rural county. And for a long time, I think that people were kind of thinking that, okay, you might bicycle to work, bicycling's okay on residential streets, but county roads, you're not going to have bicycling out there. And we are seeing that that is not the case at all.
Yes, oh, absolutely. And Julie, for one thing, when we started talking about the bike ride in Ballard, I heard comments of, "There's no place to ride in Ballard." So could you first tell us a little bit about yourself and then continue on about the Ride for the Refuge?
Sure. I have a husband who's very physically active, and I had never been, or hadn't been since I was very young. And he likes to run. I'm not going to run probably unless there's something chasing me. So I had to find another avenue for that. And the bicycle, I remembered loving to ride a bicycle when I was young. And so for Mother's Day, about 4 years ago, I said, you know what, I want a bicycle. And so Dan had bought several bicycles from you all, and so we went down to see you, and you fitted me and got me all set up and ready to go. And I fell in love again. I mean, really and truly. We've talked about the fact that when you first start an exercise program of any kind, the first week or two, there's going to come a morning or an afternoon when you think, man, I could skip this. And that's the one day that you really have to go ahead and do it. And once you get past that, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And the only place that I ride is on the rural roads in Ballard County. I live in Barlow, and there are beautiful places to ride all around me. The traffic is light. The roads are very well maintained, and the scenery is gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yes, it is gorgeous
It is,
out there.
yeah.
So
People pay to
Yes.
go on vacations and
Yes.
ride in places like Ballard County, and
Yes.
you're offering it for almost free.
But just, yes, the next best thing. And I'm surprised, too, at how many cyclists that I run across as we're doing this.
Not literally. I know.
Not run over, not run over, but run across, who say, oh, we come out to Ballard County and bike every weekend. Because, again, that good, safe, well-maintained highway, not much traffic, and it's beautiful. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I've become a disciple and go out and preach bicycling to everyone that I know who hasn't exercised in a long time, because it's so much easier on your body than running. I mean, if you want to walk, that's great. But if you don't want to walk and you don't want to run, this is fabulous.
Yes, and being here on this show, which focuses on healthy living, I mean, we can get all excited about the fun that bicycling is, and the family togetherness, and so many. I started to even put in there a little bit about economic development and when it brings people into your area. But all those things aside, the healthy living aspect, and of course, I mean, although fun is healthy living, because of the stress reduction and getting rid of all that high blood pressure and all those worries, but we have so many physicians who recommend to people that an easy way to start taking your health back, to start getting your life back, would be to start bicycling. And you don't have to start on, it's so funny to us because somebody will come in who is older than the average population and maybe a lot heavier, and the first thing they say is, now I'm not a racer. And you know, you kind of want to say, I guessed it.
Yeah.
But there is a little fear about, oh my goodness, they're going to put me on a bike like Lance Armstrong.
Right, yeah.
But the wonderful thing is that you can start on a cruiser, on the same kind of bike that you were familiar with when you were 12 years old. And we even have bikes now that are made as baby boomers age. Baby boomers drive the market, and as we've aged and our health concerns have come to the forefront, then the bike manufacturers and the design firms have said, okay, what are we going to do to keep these people active? And for example, there's one kind of bike that you can sit on the seat, and the seat is moved back a little, so you can actually reach the pedals and have an almost full leg extension, but still be sitting firmly on your bum and gain confidence. Now, if you were going to come down to Ballard County and do the ride for the Refuge, which Julie's going to talk about later, and start doing some 30-mile rides and really getting into the lifestyle of having it as your weekend hobby or everyday hobby, then you would want a bike that's going to allow you to be a little more, to be responsive and things like that. But you can start where you are, and that's a wonderful thing about it.
Absolutely, yeah. And it is more of a low impact on your joints than running, for instance. Now, one concern that I see, quite a few children and teenagers, I see them riding without a helmet. But do you want to talk about that?
When people ask us, do you recommend a helmet? Our answer is we never ride without a helmet. And then a lot of people say, well, I didn't wear a helmet growing up. And we say, you probably didn't wear a seatbelt growing up either. We've learned a lot about risk control in society as a whole. And now that we know how preventable head injury is, it just makes sense. I used to think that I was an advocate for a helmet law, but as I've seen young people become more and more sedentary, I think the dangers of not doing anything far outweigh the risk of taking a fall, because we didn't wear helmets, and yet most of us did keep our weight under control and were very active and could pass the president's physical fitness test. So my kids have always ridden with helmets. everyone at our store rides with a helmet. I look at it as being in a speedboat without a life jacket. I'm not going to take that risk. I love living. But I also love living enough that I'm not going to sit around on the sofa and just play video games all day. If I had to choose, I would say get on your bike, and hopefully you're going to love this so much you're also going to want the appropriate safety gear, which includes a helmet. And if you want a little later on, I can show you how to wear a helmet, which seems self-explanatory, but it's not.
No, it's not, because I've seen the helmets that sit way back or are, you know, sliding around, and
Yeah,
you know.
and you feel protected, but
Not quite. Yes. Well, we've talked a lot about Ride for the Refuge. Julia, I know Purchase District Health Department being a part of when we first started talking about how can we bring biking to Ballard County. I mean, it was just enjoyable to be a part of setting it up, and the Ballard schools have been such a huge you know, part in this. Tell us a little bit how last year went for this bike ride.
Last year was our very first year. We came at this, you and I were part of a group called the Compass Coalition that formed in Ballard County. Ballard County, sadly, like a lot of counties in Kentucky, is not very health conscious. If you look at all the surveys and everything, I was looking at the county health rankings before I came this morning, and out of 120 counties in Kentucky, Ballard County is ranked 82nd. McCracken County is 45th. So that's not great, but it's a whole lot better than 82nd. One of the things we talked about in that group was how can we improve the general health in Ballard County? And everybody says get out, get active. That takes care of so many other issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, as we said, so many other things. So one of the things, like I said, as a new convert, one of the things that I wanted to do was bring that joy to Ballard County. You and I have talked over and over and over again. I've sort of taken as a role model not only the fitness aspect, but the economic development aspect of the Tour de Corn over in East Prairie, Missouri, which is also a tiny little place. It's not.
Yes, it is a tiny place, and you might explain a little bit about what that is if people don't know.
It is a one-day bike ride, not unlike ours or like Misaligned Minds, and they have 600, 700, 800 people who come to the middle of a cornfield.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
In southeast Missouri. They come the night before. The community puts on a huge spaghetti supper. They have a street dance. People come and camp. They spend money in the community for 2 days. And folks ride and have a wonderful time.
It has put East Prairie, Missouri on the map, I think it's fair to say, in terms of economic development.
Yes.
The original organizer of that ride said to me after it became obvious that it was going to be a success, he said, Martha, this is so wonderful. And this is a little bit off the idea of public health, except that when you have everybody doing it, then it becomes an all right thing to do. But in the realm of economic development, he said, you don't know. The only thing we were ever known for was beating people up after football games.
Yeah.
And he said, this gives us such a civic pride.
Yeah.
And they use that as a benefit for their community charities. And so they donate huge sums to charity every year, in addition to all the other good stuff that goes on. So that's sort of the model you and I, have talked about taking for this. Last year was our first year. We had 22 riders. We had to move the date of the ride 3 times because of the high water. I was listening on the radio this morning, and they were talking about how the quilters didn't have to go anywhere else this week because the water wasn't up. All 3 of the major highways that were on our route last year were underwater.
Nature was out to get you last year.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
We had to work hard to pursue this.
We really did. So if we only have to schedule it once this year, we're already ahead of the game, and that appears to be the case. May 19th looks like it's going to be the firm date this year, barring a serious deluge.
And we're hearing so many people already say that they're planning to come this year. And I know the local cycling club in Paducah has set a picnic after the ride to encourage their members to go down and ride. And
That's
I
great.
think it's going to be you're going to have a good turnout. But I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I'm looking forward to it. We had 22 riders last year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for a very first ride, I was delighted.
For a very first ride that's been moved with the date 3 times, because people do set their schedule.
Yes.
And it still rained on that day, too. So, I mean, these are diehards that wanted to come.
22 people who were going to be
there in the rain.
Come heck or high water, as the case may be.
And we had very good responses from all of the folks who came. And I know you heard good things
We
at
did.
the shop.
Great
We
things.
couldn't have put it all together without you, because we kept coming back and going, okay, now how do we do this part? How do we do this part?
You were a great lead for
well,
us.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's great for us too. If it promotes bicycling,
Yes.
then we're all for that.
Yes, and so this year we're hoping for somewhat more than 22 people. We're going to start at the fairgrounds in La Center this year. Last year we started actually on the game reserve in Ballard County, and it was a little bit hard for a couple of people to find. So the routes will be the same. You'll go by our game reserve, and if you do on the 25-mile route, if you go on the 50-mile route, you'll go by it and the West Kentucky Wildlife Management Area in McCracken County before you come back to us. Again, beautiful scenery. If you're very lucky, you may see a bald eagle or two. I mean, it's just delightful. We've been very fortunate in Ballard County. You and I talked about this a little bit. We've had tremendous backing from the folks in Ballard County and from all the official agencies
and that speaks highly of Ballard County. You know, they're stepping forward and saying, we care about our people and we want to promote this. You know,
and a lot of them are folks who probably haven't been on a bicycle since they were very young, but they understand the health benefits and the potential economic impact.
And some of the Ballard County leaders that we've talked to have really endorsed what you're doing. And as you say, that speaks very well of Ballard County. And it does say, as a group, we want to improve the health, and we have something really special in our region to show off. I think there's a civic pride there.
I do too. I do
Absolutely, yeah. So how do people sign up for this if they're hearing, you know, today and saying, boy, that sounds fun. How do we do it, or how do we get our whole family signed up for it?
Well, and I was going to say, we'll have not only the 25 and the 50-mile routes, but we, again, this year are going to try to have some family activities there at the fairgrounds for people with smaller children who won't ride that far. And the routes that we've chosen, if the family comes with smaller children and wants to ride part of the way out and turn around and come back, that's delightful. We're pleased about that.
You can always turn around.
You can always turn around, yes.
That's what we always tell people. Just because it's a 25-mile route doesn't mean you have to do the whole 25 miles.
Yeah.
We do encourage you, if you're going to come out and ride the routes, to wear a helmet, no matter the age. We have several ways that you can get involved. I have taken brochures to your shop and several other shops around here. One gentleman from Cape Girardeau who came last year, I have sent brochures to take and distribute across the river. So the other way, of course, you can get on our Facebook page, which is, you have to search for Ballard County Ride for the Refuge. You can't just put in Ride for the Refuge, you wind up with someplace in Canada, I think. and while we'd be delighted while we'd be delighted for you to ride there also, that won't get you to Ballard County. Or you can go to Martha's page for BikeWorld and look under events, and there will be a listing there.
And that is BikeWorld KY. You have to have BikeWorldKY.com.
So, and either way, and my phone number is listed in both places, but we'd love for you to come. And you don't have to sign up in advance. That would be great, but you don't have to sign up in advance. You can come on the morning of the 19th. We'll start at 8 o'clock at the fairgrounds in La Center, and we'll take everybody that'll come.
Now, here's a logistical question. If you sign up that day, do you still get a T-shirt? How does that work?
The T-shirts, we have these great T-shirts.
Those are our beautiful T-shirts.
I know.
That is, who did that artwork? That is so cute.
The folks at Unlimited Graphics in La Center did this for us. We've kept everything pretty much at home as much as we can.
Speaking of good,
yes.
I think
development.
It's well done.
It is. It's very cute.
Jenna and I were talking, my daughter and I were talking about how we could do art for the next year, and we were trying to figure out where we'd find a picture of a deer on a bicycle. But anyway, the T-shirts are not part of the registration package. The registration package is separate. It's very reasonable, but the T-shirts are separate. And we won't order one for everybody that we're expecting. So if you come, you'll have to buy it the day that you get down there. And but
I see you have them in 2 colors.
We have them, yes, and we may even have them in 3 colors by the 19th. And we have them for grown-ups and for youth also. So. And even if you can't ride, come buy a T-shirt.
Yeah, you can support the ride that way.
And I think it's important to say, too, this is not a timed race. This is not for the
professionals.
Not a race.
Yes,
yeah,
yes. First,
it is a ride, and so families can do it. I mean, you know, any age. I know my son rode at a bike ride when he was a kindergartner and did 30 miles. We didn't think he was going to do 30 miles, but he ended up doing it because he loved biking that much, you know. So it's great, you know, opportunity for families along with everyone else. What? All right, so we know the people know how to sign up. They know the costs and where to make the contacts. are there any giveaways, or is there any perks to this ride
Yes.
other than the accomplishment
You
of
prompted
riding?
her to ask that
And
question.
I did, and the good company. We gave away prizes last year. We'll have some prizes this year. We're talking about a stationary trainer, so you can bring your bike like this in the house over the wintertime and put it up on there, and you don't have to stop riding when the weather gets bad.
No excuses.
That's right. That's right. And I can speak from experience and say it's easier if you do that over the winter than sit on the couch and watch football.
It is, and it keeps that way you don't have your blood pressure go up in the winter and then
Right.
down in the summer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do end up really reducing their blood pressure. That's one of the first things you start to see is you can lower that blood pressure medication.
Oh, absolutely.
We may have some additional raffles for jerseys or other kinds of things, and then some smaller prizes that will be available to everybody, water bottles and lights and locks and all kinds of good things.
Well,
So
sounds great.
we had a great time last year, and I'm really looking forward to it this year to first of all, to only do it once.
Yeah.
And, and to have so many folks who are already talking about it. I've had emails over the last couple of weeks, really before we've started the push, the serious push for PR, and I'm already getting emails from people who were there last year who are send me the brochures, send me stuff. Like I said, the gentleman in Cape, send me whatever you want to send, I'll get it out. So we really are looking for a much bigger crowd this year than last year.
And it's May 19th.
Yes, May the 19th.
At 8 o'clock. All right, good. All right, so Martha, when people have decided that they're going to do this bike ride, how do they prepare? I mean, is this something you just hop on your bike and go 50 miles, or obviously you want to enjoy the day after? Okay, so how do we do this?
As Julie said, anytime you start a new exercise program, after about a week, there may be a point that you start to say, gosh, this is not quite as easy as I thought, and bicycling is the same way. I think that a lot of people are capable of going out and the very first day, if you haven't ridden at all, putting the air in your tires and the helmet on your head and riding, maybe not 50, but just by continuing to pedal, you could ride 25. But if you haven't done any preparation, you probably will be a little sore the next day. People come in and one of the first things is they say, oh, how about these bike seats? My bottom is so sore. And we ask a few questions strategically. Are you sore in the front or the back? Or because sometimes it can be your seat's in the wrong place, but there are some muscles that if you haven't used them for years, they are going to protest just a little bit. And so our rule of thumb in that is if you ride today and you're sore tomorrow, just take the day off. And then the third day, ride, and if you can't ride that soreness out after 5 to 10 minutes, then you probably are pushing a little too hard and you want to back it up a little. So that's just a little thing about getting yourself fit. But in order to ride the 25 mile, and that whole number is so intimidating to people. 25 miles. I remember the first time I rode, well, probably when I was a child, I rode more, but nobody was measuring it, so I didn't know. So when years ago, 35 or 40 years ago, when I was actually measuring my distance and it was 6 miles, I said, oh my goodness, I rode my bicycle 6 miles and it seemed so far to me. But as I tell kids when I do bicycle programs in the elementary schools and I'm in Paducah, I say, how many of you think that you could pedal like this, not real fast, but just pedal for an hour? And most of the kids, even kids who are not very physically fit, say, yeah, I can do that. And I say, you could ride to Reedland in an hour. And that always surprises them. I say, that's 7 miles, and even a person who isn't riding at all fast, just really a moderate, even slower than moderate actually, can ride 7 miles an hour. So when you think of it that way, and you are going to have rest areas.
Oh yes, yes, there will be 3 on the 25-mile route. There'll be 2, and on the 50-mile route there'll be 3.
And at those rest areas, you have Gatorade and
water and snacks and bathroom facilities and everything. So yes.
Right. So what I tell somebody who's thinking about doing it, I say, definitely try to get your balance back if you haven't been on a bike for a while. And one of the ways we tell people to do that is put the seat down low. So, which is not the way you want to ride, because if you ride that way, your leg is always bent up and you're never able to use the whole pedal stroke. But just to become familiar with the handling and to build up your confidence, put your seat down low, ride some, and then gradually raise your seat so that you're getting on and off with your bottom being the last thing on, not sitting on the seat with your bottom, but reaching from the pedal. And then from there, that day, what you're going to do is ride about 8 miles, I imagine. And so then you're going to get off your bike and stretch your legs by walking and taking some Gatorade, maybe have a banana. Everybody has bananas on their bike ride, and healthy and not fat. Then you get back on, you ride for 7 or 8 more miles, and then you ride not even that far and you're finished. And it's like, oh, wow, well, I think I could do that. And
so really this ride is definitely very doable.
Very doable.
You know, even for someone who hasn't been doing it for, you know, weeks on end. Obviously, you know, it might be good to practice a little before you come, you know, but it's for the enjoyment.
We'll also have support if folks just absolutely cannot make another mile, or something goes wrong with the bike, or something else happens.
You mean motor vehicle support?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We'll
To
have
pick
someone
up.
following in a good Ballard County pickup truck who will come and get you and put you in the back of the truck and bring you
Yeah.
back to where you started.
You will be able to have support if you need.
Yes.
Well, it's come to time for close, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. I know I have, you know, hearing about what we're doing in Ballard, and hopefully you'll enjoy or join us next time. And keep in mind of the Ride for Refuge Ballard bike ride that's coming up May 19th, and go out and enjoy some time on a bike.
Thank you, Kaylene.